Alrighty, May 20th, Money Monday in the books here. Starting off with ES for a quick session recap here. We came into the session on both ES and NQ wanting to see how price was going to trade versus that prior day's high. That was giving us a really nice reference point to work with just based on this near-term structure. So Wednesday we had the expansion day. Right, Thursday you see a little bit of a pullback. Friday you get that test into the Fibonacci buy zone from this expansion move higher. And so based on the shape of the daily here that we had on ES, we can come into a session like today just looking at one primary reference point and kind of taking it from there. And that primary reference point for today's session was that prior day high, giving us really strong setup to work with. Take a look at the regular trading hours chart here. So looking at that prior day high on ES, 53.28, call it 53.29 even, just to round up, and you get that initial push right off of the open, right? Phenomenal opening drive setup right through there on ES to essentially test that near-term range high, right? This was going to be that first target for not only this Fibonacci buy zone retest, but also for today's continuation play. So it can be helpful if you're struggling to understand kind of the big picture. It can be helpful to just get a sense of what, especially on a session like today, what is the primary move that is currently unfolding, right? We have Wednesday's expansion move, right? Thursday, bit of exhaustion there, a bit of a retracement. Friday, see a little bit of a continuation of that retracement. As always, we want to be looking to assess where might buyers be stepping in, and a typical area where they step in is that Fibonacci buy zone, that 50 to 61% retracement of whatever trend move you're measuring. In this case, we're measuring the Wednesday low into the Thursday high. Here's that buy zone. So Friday, you start to see that bounce, right? And then today we come in, price essentially just retests Friday's close, retests that prior day high. This is still a continuation move for this retest of that fib buy zone, and the target again is the prior high, right? So price test that prior high. Overall, some pretty good action this morning. The afternoon, at least in ES, not all that great. Couple of setups there, follow-up setups there. NQ definitely the better opportunity set for the late morning and afternoon. But as far as ES is concerned, this is just near-term range trading continued into tomorrow. So I'll be looking at 53.50 near-term range high, right, down into essentially 53.08. This area as the near-term range low. Whereas price right now, well, it's right near that near-term volume point of control, that 53.33 level of interest, and that was the prior all-time high, remember. So still showing that level being respected, that 53.33 level. So that'll be the main watch for tomorrow, kind of this mid-range reference point right through here, 53.33. Also aligns with that near-term volume point of control. Going to be the primary watch for tomorrow's session, of course, depending on where price is poised to open up. Let's get a look at the shape of the daily. Okay, so again, daily candle does show a bit of exhaustion here. Same thing that we saw on Thursday. One of the scenarios that I had outlined on Friday, as well as this morning and in the weekly kickoff, was the potential for just continued range trading through here. So until we see a break of kind of this near-term structure, I'm just going to be treating this like a near-term range. So that's ES. NQ, a bit of a different story, right? ES had a big weight on it this afternoon, being JPM getting sold off on the news that their CEO is going to be retiring. So that's weighing pretty heavily on ES. So NQ definitely does not have any JPM in the NASDAQ, right? It is tech heavy. So NQ holding much stronger today. Definitely, there's what we call relative strength versus ES. same type of watch for today's session. We wanted to see how price was going to be trading versus that prior day high. I always refer to the regular trading hours prior day high. Now, as far as location at the open, ES was definitely more favorable, opening closer to that prior day high. NQ, you did have that prior day volume point of control right through here, though, as well as that 18,630 level of interest that we've been watching. So again, the opening drive works really nice. Can scalp into the prior day high, but ultimately you want to be carrying that trade for a test of what's going to be the target right up through that prior high, right? And just using the same exercise that we talked about on ES as far as what is the move that is currently underway with the higher time frames. You got the expansion last Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, pullback, Fibonacci buy zone and test of the downside level of interest, holds as support. Okay, price is opening right near this near-term volume point of control. Acts as resistance during the overnight session, but once we actually see that regular trading hours open, get that move into the target, and then actually a fresh all-time high. Fresh all-time high here in NQ, right? Nice, a couple of nice pullback opportunities here in NQ as well. Later this afternoon, retest of the 700. This is a trade worth studying right through here. There's a lot of confluence on this trade that you can't currently see on this chart, but if you look into the details of this trade, you'll find a lot of gems there. So I recommend studying that one. As far as what we'll be looking at for tomorrow, I'm going to be working with essentially this prior high right through here, 18,760 area right through here. Essentially this afternoon, late morning, afternoon kind of structure that we have on NQ. Let's take a look at the 5-minute regular trading hour so you could see the value area here into the late morning, into the afternoon here on NQ. I just want to see essentially how is price going to resolve versus this ultra near-term structure. And then based on that, we'll have some good clues for tomorrow's session, right? If this area fails to hold as support, well, what's going to happen? Price is just back within kind of that bigger picture range right through here, right? So we'll be looking for some downside tests of lower areas of support if it breaks higher, or is just basic continuation play, right? So that's NQ. Primarily going to be looking at that 18,800 by essentially 18,700, 100 point range here on NQ. Again, expected it to be a slow session today, and that's exactly what we saw. That's pretty typical for a Monday, especially following an expansion move like we saw in the middle of last week. Take a look at the ATR, 161 today versus 247. So about half on NQ, right? Half of the normal ATR, and then ES 24 versus 53, less than half. That is a textbook slow session. Alrighty. Hope everyone had a good one today. Hope you had a green session. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a DM. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow morning. Have a good afternoon.